Hello, welcome to another edition of Congregation Agudath Shalom's This Week in Jewish History. This week, I'd like us to stay pretty local and look at the story of a historic New York congregation, Congregation Beth Hamedrash Hagadol. You may have heard about this congregation recently, as just a few weeks ago, their historic synagogue on New York's Lower East Side suffered a devastating fire, destroying what was sadly already a dilapidated but once magnificent building. In the mid-19th century, New York's Orthodox congregations consisted of the famous Spanish and Portuguese congregation, She'erith Israel, as well as a number of German congregations, established by the many thousands of German Jews who formed the overwhelming majority of Jewish immigrants to this country in that period. But as a trickle of Eastern European Jews began arriving on these shores and settling primarily on New York's Lower East Side, they felt the need for a congregation that would suit their own traditions and heritage. And so, in June 1852, Congregation Beth Hamedrash, which later on would become Beth Hamedrash Hagadol, was established, its first spiritual leader being Rabbi Abraham Ash, who made his living through various business ventures. The congregation did not have a permanent building until a number of years later, and in the beginning wandered from place to place, using storefronts and even the upstairs of a courthouse. Why the upstairs, you ask? Because a different congregation had already reserved the downstairs for their services. Such was the situation on the immigrant Lower East Side. In 1859, controversy broke out in the young congregation as a Methodist church became available for purchase, and the question arose whether it was permitted to convert the church into a synagogue. The question was sent to two of the most prominent Jewish legal authorities of Europe, Rabbi Jacob Ettlinger of Altona, near Hamburg, in Germany, who you see on the top left of your screens, and Rabbi Joseph Saul Nathanson, rabbi of Lvov, Poland. The answers from both of these came back in the affirmative, and the church building was purchased. Following this ruling, in 1885, another church building became available, a Baptist church on Norfolk Street, which became the permanent home of Beth Hamedrash Hagadol. Here you can see the exterior on the top, and on the bottom, the beautiful interior of the synagogue. In 1887, just 2 years after its purchase, with the arrival of New York's first and only chief rabbi ever, Rabbi Jacob Joseph, the synagogue became his main pulpit and home base. The synagogue became instrumental in the establishment of many of the great institutions of American Jewish life. Leaders of Beth Hamedrash Hagadol, along with leaders of other congregations, founded the Orthodox Union, which we are perhaps most familiar with from their kosher supervision, but which has a hand in supporting almost all facets of Jewish life in America and beyond. Leaders of the congregation also took a vital role in creating important institutions, such as the Rabbi Isaac Elchanan Theological Seminary, which later would become Yeshiva University, as well as the Young Israel movement, which played a pivotal role in education and stemming the tide of assimilation among America's Jewish youth. After World War II, the leader of the congregation became Rabbi Ephraim Oshry of Kovno, scholar and author of Responsa Mima'amakim, a collection of heart-rending Jewish legal questions and answers that arose during the Holocaust. Sadly, the building of Beth Hamedrash Hagadol ceased to be used and gradually sunk into disrepair. And tragically, as we mentioned at the beginning, just a few weeks ago on May 14th, fire overtook the historic building in what is suspected as an act of arson. And so, the beautiful building which housed New York's first Eastern European congregation, which was full of Torah, prayer, and tradition for so many years, came to an end. Thank you for listening, and have a good day.